全部戒严，全在路上。
Everything's under martial law. There are no subway, no buses. I can't go back. I left with no problem, but now I can't return.
On August 9th, martial law was enforced in Beijing's Tiananmen area. Chang'an Avenue was filled with barriers, and vehicles couldn't move. Pedestrians were trapped behind guardrails. Even busy areas like Wangfujing Street were suddenly under traffic control. In the video, police blocked Wangfujing Street, with multiple police cars parked in the middle. On the other side, 4 rows of people in black uniforms stood next to a bus. Uniformed police stood near the sidewalk. Shops on Wangfujing Street closed early, and people could only loiter outside the stores. At around 6 p.m. on the 9th, a photo posted by an online user showed a huge number of ambulances heading towards Tiananmen from Tiananmen. On August 10th, photos showed that police had occupied Tiananmen Square. All pedestrians were stopped. Reports from Central News Agency stated that even in the nearby alleys within the restricted area, guards were posted, and residents had to show ID to enter. Nearby, people were seen video calling friends and family, saying that roads were closed. Users shared online that police were stationed every 3 steps, with a sentry every 5 steps. The square was surrounded by metal fences, and everyone had their ID checked and bags searched. The place once known as People's Square is now filled with police, with no one else in sight. One user commented, "It felt like something was wrong. I went through the security check at the Forbidden City, and when they saw a dollar bill in my phone case, they checked my whole body, even my underwear. I don't know what they're afraid of. It's really insane." Beijing citizen reporter Gao Yu commented on X, saying, "Across from the square, not only is the Forbidden City's main gate closed, the Golden Water Bridge is also blocked off. All entrances are locked with iron fences. Every time I pass Tiananmen Square, I find it laughable. A government that's been in power for 76 years is scaring its people like this." Someone else said, "I work at Hengji Center. The controls along Chang'an Street happen every so often. Every time there's a military parade, they make us open all the safes for inspection. The whole country takes a holiday, but we still have to stay behind for the checks." Some online users commented, saying, "The hotel is full of police, and they won't let anyone out, plus they require registration." Others mentioned that their residential areas were sealed off, preventing them from ordering delivery. Some subtly hinted that this was related to the September 3rd military parade rehearsal. Others suggested it was for a so-called special event. According to Gaoda maps, major roads like Chang'an Avenue, Jingshan Front Street, and Dongdan North Street were all blocked, and the stated reason was being 2025 Beijing special event. Some sources revealed that another drill would take place on the 16th. On August 6th, the Beijing Municipal Public Security Bureau Traffic Management Bureau announced on its website that temporary traffic management measures would be implemented in Tiananmen and surrounding roads to ensure safety and smooth operation of the special event. The notice indicated that the measures would start on August 9th and continue until the event concludes, divided into 4 time slots, from 6 p.m. on the 9th until the event ends, from 9 p.m. on the 9th until the event ends, and from 12:30 a.m. on the 10th until the event ends. During these times, only vehicles with special event passes were allowed to pass. On August 7th, Beijing Metro announced on its official WeChat that from 6 p.m. on August 9th until the event ends, some stations on Line 1, 4, 2, and 5, as well as transfer stations, would be closed or have restricted entry and exit. Affected stations include Tiananmen East, Tiananmen West, Jiangguomen, and Qianmen. At the same time, Beijing's public transport system announced on its website that to ensure this special event, temporary traffic management measures would be enforced on certain roads, and 65 bus routes along the affected areas would be diverted or have temporary station changes. Regarding the strict control in many parts of Beijing, there's speculation that the special event might be related to the military parade. Chinese state media reported that on the morning of September 3rd, a grand ceremony will be held in Tiananmen Square to commemorate the 80th anniversary of the victory of the Chinese people's anti-Japanese war and world anti-fascist war, including a military review. Every time Beijing holds major events or meetings, the authorities impose tight security. For this military parade, local governments have recently been forcibly sending petitioners from all over the country to a place known as the Chinese Petitioner Concentration Camp, also known as Jiujingzhuang, where they're held under house arrest. Staff from various local governments are intercepting petitioners at Beijing's train stations and airports, and some petitioners have been beaten and sent back. In a video, an elderly woman with gray hair is holding onto a utility pole while 2 strong men forcibly pull and drag her. The elderly woman is screaming help. Some online users criticized, saying, "The people are the foundation, and the foundation is the people. The Communist Party always targets the foundation." On August 13th, a woman named Wang, a petitioner from outside Beijing, told foreign media that all petitioners in Beijing have been driven out. Now it's impossible to even enter the city. Zhongnanhai and Tiananmen are difficult for ordinary people to access. A petitioner from Jilin was caught in the suburban areas and sent back to their hometown, where they were detained. Li, a Beijing taxi driver with over 20 years of experience, recalled that more than 10 years ago, passengers and drivers could easily chat, joke, and discuss national affairs. However, around 10 years ago, the company began installing surveillance equipment in their cars. Recently, the company warned drivers not to discuss political topics. The company not only prohibited drivers from chatting with passengers, but also encouraged them to report suspicious individuals, with rewards for reporting spies. Li questioned, but if you're not allowed to chat with passengers, how can you know if someone's suspicious? A retired government official who had just returned to Jinan from Beijing confirmed this. In the past, Beijing taxi drivers were known for their constant chatter. They would discuss politics, such as changes in central leadership or U.S.-China relations. Back then, taxi drivers in Beijing were the ultimate talkers, but now they remain silent throughout the ride. While Beijing implements traffic controls and tightens speech restrictions, checks for those entering the city have become even stricter. A netizen revealed, "If you can avoid going to Beijing, try not to go. Passing through security checks, facial recognition, and ID card scanning won't be enough. You'll have to go through security with your luggage. It's too much of a hassle." On August 11th, passengers traveling by bus to Beijing were required to undergo security checks. This time, the security check was not the usual check on just the passengers themselves, but also required them to carry their luggage for inspection before being allowed to proceed. For trains entering Beijing, passengers are subjected to multiple rounds of security checks. In a video, a man in Maoming Station in Guangdong is seen being checked thoroughly with a detection device from top to bottom before entering the station. Netizens mentioned that trains to Beijing undergo 2 or 3 rounds of checks, and temporary waiting areas are set up for passengers.
The security check is so strict this time. All high-speed trains passing through Beijing have to go through 3 layers of checks because Beijing is holding drills. On August 10th, the first checkpoint for vehicles entering Beijing, the police station at the Yuji boundary of the Jinggang-Ao Expressway, started causing traffic jams again. All vehicles, whether trucks or cars, had to be checked. For passenger cars, officers had to open the trunks for inspection. 2 officers checked each car, one talking to the driver while the other searched the trunk by hand. It's unclear what exactly they were hoping to find. Look at this inspection at the Hebei border. We've been waiting for half an hour and it's still not our turn. All vehicles, big and small, have to go through this inspection. It's just as difficult to get to Beidaihe as it is to get to Beijing. A netizen revealed that starting from the Hebei border, strict checks are being enforced for the September 3rd military parade. They were just passing through Handan on their way to Shanxi, and there was a long queue with mandatory inspections. The Chinese government will hold a military parade on the morning of September 3rd at Tiananmen Square, with General Secretary Xi Jinping delivering a speech. Overseas media suggest that due to increasingly severe economic crisis and rising public discontent, the Chinese government is using the military parade to create a facade of stability, which has only fueled more public dissatisfaction. Legal professor Yuan Hongbing, who is known for exposing the inner workings of the CCP, shared exclusive details with China Observer about the CCP's Politburo meeting regarding the September 3rd parade. Yuan Hongbing said that, according to reports from conscientious insiders within the CCP, through discussions within Beijing's political circles, the main topic of the Politburo meeting on July 30th was Xi Jinping's internal speech about the political and diplomatic goals of the September 3rd parade. Xi's speech covered various aspects, including the need to demonstrate the Chinese military strength after the political purge of original Central Military Commission members, as well as the cleansing of corrupt officials who were politically disloyal. This was aimed at revitalizing the military and reinforcing its combat readiness and capabilities. Xi Jinping also emphasized that the military parade must showcase the strengthened military power to further solidify China's unity with Russia and their strategic alliance. Yuan also revealed that some insiders within the CCP criticized Xi Jinping's speech during the meeting. They noted that during the purging of Central Military Commission Vice Chairman He Weidong and member Miao Hua, over 1,000 officers above the rank of colonel up to generals had already been investigated. As a result, the CCP military is currently in turmoil, with officers feeling vulnerable and uneasy, and the situation is unstable. The insider pointed out that Xi's attempt to use the September 3rd parade to destabilize the military is unlikely to succeed. Instead, the political turmoil within the military will likely continue, leading to an ongoing cycle of purges and cleanups under Xi's regime. The insider concluded that Xi's efforts to control the military through intelligence and purges would eventually lead to a vicious cycle, ultimately causing his authoritarian rule to collapse due to a lack of support. As for Xi's attempt to strengthen his alliance with Russia by showcasing military power, the insider suggested that it may backfire. It could increase Putin's wariness of Xi and the CCP, making it more likely that as the situation in Ukraine evolves, Putin could compromise with Trump and significantly improve U.S.-Russia relations. The issue of the military parade, whether related to Beijing's strict control measures or the contents of Xi Jinping's speech, highlights the authorities' fear of instability. They're determined to eliminate any potential challenges before they arise. This fear and strict control are not only evident in Beijing, but also in places like Qinhuangdao.
On the high-speed train, I suddenly noticed an area outside the construction zone that was also fenced off, called the secondary security check area. What's this about? I checked the train number and then understood.
The blogger, traveling from Tianjin to Qinhuangdao, was required to go through the secondary security check. This was due to the ongoing CCP Beidaihe meeting. This meeting usually takes place between late July to early August, and security measures for this year's meeting were activated in advance. In another case, passengers boarding at Taiyuan Station in Shanxi were required to undergo a secondary inspection. The security personnel insisted on opening their luggage and thoroughly searching through it. The situation was described as excessive. The notice also stated, starting from now, passengers traveling from Taishanhdao on the following trains are required to operate with the inspection. The blogger mentioned that from July 31st to August 16th, trains bound for Qinhuangdao Station will be subject to secondary inspections. In addition to those inspections, strict control measures have been enforced on petitioners and dissidents. There have been reports of petitioners going missing or being sent to black jails. On the morning of July 23rd, around 5:30 a.m., petitioner Zhang Zhifa from Fengjie County, Chongqing, was intercepted by police officers and two unidentified individuals. He was in the waiting room at the Beijing West Railway Station right after getting off the train. Petitioners Wang Yanping, Wang Yanwei, and Wang Zhongwei from Xianzhu County, Zhejiang Province went missing in Beijing. Wang Yanpei and Wang Yanwei were kidnapped after leaving the National Petition Bureau. Wang Zhongwei was detained by Beijing police after being asked for his ID at a post office, and he also went missing. Around 9 a.m. on July 21st, petitioner Zhang Qiuping from Xi'an Shanxi Province was kidnapped by several unidentified individuals near the Supreme People's Court in Beijing and forcibly taken into a vehicle. On the morning of July 11th, around 10:30 a.m., petitioner Zhou Xueqin, who had a physical disability, was detained by police after showing his ID near Beihai Park in Beijing. He also subsequently went missing. On the morning of July 10th, petitioner Wang Huojun from Tongzhou District from Nantong City, Jiangsu Province, went missing after being intercepted by the local government in Tangshan, Hebei. On the morning of July 6, around 10 a.m., cancer patient Zhang Dongfang from Zhejiang Province was detained by police at a post office after being asked for ID, and she went missing as well. On the evening of July 8th, around 10 p.m., petitioner Ma Bo from Heilongjiang Province received a call from local police, asking whether she had recently received calls from Harbin Police or the Beijing Liaison Office. The police also warned her that things were tense in Beidaihe and urged her not to be brought back to her hometown and placed under surveillance again. The CCP's escalating stability maintenance efforts reflect the authorities' heightened anxiety about the current political situation. In times of tension, what the authorities fear most is the awakening of the public. Recently, a photo of the slogan, "The CCP does not equal China," sparked heated discussions overseas. On August 12th, Chinese writer Li Ying, who resides in Italy, shared the photo on social media. The photo showed a slogan on a utility pole in Langfang, Hebei Province. It was accompanied by a note: "The CCP is a descendant of Marxism-Leninism, while China is the descendant of Yan and Huang." After the photo was exposed, netizens discussed it widely. Society is changing, and the message behind the slogan is powerful. Anti-CCP sentiment is growing, and nationalism's anti-CCP stance easily garners support. Recognizing that the CCP is not China means the people are free. Not fearing death is a sign of the regime's impending collapse, and the growing public resentment shows that some are awakening. The event reflects a deepening public questioning of the CCP's legitimacy, clearly signaling a shift in social awareness. Meanwhile, between August 8th and 9th, overseas Chinese in many parts of the world simultaneously released the Declaration of the People's Resistance Movement. This declaration exposes the CCP's tyrannical actions and aims to unite Chinese people worldwide against authoritarianism, with the goal of creating international momentum to overthrow the CCP's autocratic rule. The declaration was simultaneously released in cities such as New York, Washington, Los Angeles, San Francisco, London, Paris, Berlin, Toronto, Sydney, and Tokyo. On the morning of August 9th, around 10 Chinese individuals residing in the Washington, D.C. area gathered in front of the U.S. Capitol, holding banners with slogans like, "It's time, get out," and "Stop CCP, free China." They shouted slogans such as "CCP get out" and "Xi Jinping step down." The organizer of the event, Yang Zili, told the Central News Agency that the goal of the demonstration was to rally the Chinese people at home, urging them to rise up and resist, ultimately promoting China's democratization. In Berlin, the event attracted representatives from organizations such as Free Hong Kong, Germany Supports Tibet, and the German Association for Threatened Peoples, as well as notable figures like YouTuber Stan from Poland, exiled Hong Kong citizens, and Chinese dissidents. The event's host, Daniel Wong, a youth represented with the White Paper movement, gave a speech. He said, "When freedom is violated, resistance is our duty. We're gathered here today to declare it's time to take action, end tyranny, and usher in a new era of freedom and democracy."